Snow, Vermont in the United States of America. My name's Mark By-Seagull and I'll be bringing you the action from today's men's and women's races. And this is the last World Cup until the combined cross-country and downhill events from Le Jet, France, which will be on August the 10th and 11th. But before that, of course, Eurosport will be bringing you the Olympic mountain bike race.
This course here in Mount Snow, Vermont is quite technical. It's characteristically one of the most challenging courses on the circuit. And a lot of it is due to the nature of the terrain and the weather. Generally, you're going to get a lot of rain here in the spring, and so we get some muddy conditions. And there's a lot of rooty, rocky, technical single track here. And generally, that's encountered on the downhills. Generally, in most courses, regardless of the terrain, the races are generally won on the uphills. Now, some courses don't have much for climbing. This one does. In a situation like here in Mount Snow, you can lose the race on the downhills. You're not necessarily going to win it, but being a good descender can be a great advantage, because if you can gain time or at least maintain the time that you've gained on the climbs, it's much more to your advantage.
The problem here are the bugs, the mosquitoes, right? Everybody's complaining about it. How do the riders live with that in a 2.5 hours race?
Well, fortunately, we're generally going fast enough that the bugs aren't keeping up with us. But should we get caught in the congestion in the single track, we do encounter a bit of the bugs, or if you have a mechanical difficulty where you have to stop and repair the bicycle, then it can become a problem. But as for the racers, it's not as big a problem as it is for the spectators and the camera people and media, etc.
Unless you hadn't noticed, that was Mike Closer, Tim Gould's twin teammate, describing the course today for us. This is Ruthie Mathis, Volvic Power Bar Pro.
Well, next weekend is really the big focus race for the Americans, but yeah, we have our national points series here, so it'll be a good race for us.
You like the course here?
Yes, I do. I think it's really fun. It's one of our more technical courses, and that's exciting to look forward to.
Alison, good morning. How do you feel today?
Pretty good. I'm pretty happy that we're seeing the sun and it's not raining today.
The top is not at the start here except you. What's the reason for that?
A lot of the women are away at road racing right now, preparing for the Olympic Games. I'm preparing, doing road racing too, but heading off to Italy actually tomorrow to start the Giro d'Italia. So that starts a little later. So it gave me the opportunity to come here and do Mount Snow.
And you heard it from the horse's mouth. Lots of riders not present here today, notably Julie Furtado, second in the World Cup at the moment. Our own British rider Caroline Alexander, she's doing the same road race, as is Eva Orvasova-Low. They're competing in the International Power Bar Road Race. As the 65 women riders shoot off from the start. Conditions here today, quite humid. It's at altitude, of course, as well. Got to be careful of the bugs, as Closer said. And the women are doing 3 laps today, 10.6 kilometers per lap, so that's a total of 31.8 kilometers for the women. An overwhelming favourite is obviously this woman, Alison Seidel. She's already won 5 World Cup races this season. There's Sherry Kane, the Ritchie rider, going through there. She's in the low teens at the moment in the World Cup. Ruthie Mathis, number 11, followed by her teammate Jan Bolland, riding for Volvic Power Bar. But it's this woman who has dominated the season so far, Alison Seidel, and she's already out on her own on the first lap. She's followed closely by Tammy Jacks-Gruel, riding for Schwinn, teammate of Mike Closer and Tim Gould, of course, and that's Sarah Ballantyne, who won the World Cup way back in 1990. Won the unofficial Worlds back in '89 as well. Much like Closer, she has been around from the very start. An extremely competent rider, good at all disciplines, doesn't mind what type of course it is, as does this woman. She now seems to be combining both her brute strength with technical skills. She's good at downhilling now, she's getting better at climbing. I would say that at the moment Caroline Alexander is the best climber on the circuit, but overall Seidel has got the position of the best rider. But at the moment it's Seidel in first place, followed closely by Sarah Ballantyne, riding for Univega Louis Garneau, the ex-sponsor of Britain's Caroline Alexander, with Ruthie Mathis right on her tail, pushing a very big gear. Ruthie there. But so far this season, this has been the case. Sidor generally out on her own. Or if she's not out on her own, she's leading the pace. It's been very difficult for the other riders. It's been very difficult for the other riders to keep up with Sidor. She's just been so dominant. I think that was Tammy Jacks going through there. It was, yes, number 8 with Ballantyne. Tammy Jacks having quite a good season as well. She's currently lying 8th in the World Cup. And just in front of her is this woman, Susan Dematteis. She is Ms. Consistency. Loves to finish races. Doesn't like falling off. If it means falling off, she'd rather go a little bit slower just to garner the points, and it's always done her proudly in the World Cup. She was 4th in 1992, 1993 and 1994. She was 8th last year, slightly disappointed. 7th in the Worlds, but that was good. But this woman, Ruthie Mathers, not doing as well as she usually does in the World Cup. Used to ride for Evian, same sponsor she's riding for this year though. They've just changed their name to Volvic Powerbar. Evian owned by Volvic. But this will be a good result for Ruthie if she keeps this position, as it will be for this woman, Sarah Ballantyne. She's had a best result in the first round. She came 3rd in Lisbon, and that was her best result for 3 years, since 1993. I think it was back in St Anne, back in 1993 when she came 3rd. And that's Susan Dematteis on the back wheel of Tammy Jacks there. So lonely for these women now. It's generally a trial of strength for them. It seems to be a time trial most of the time, with Alison Sidor right at the head of the field. As she told you earlier, she's competing in the Women's Giro d'Italia. She's a fabulous road racer, as well as a brilliant mountain biker. She's the current world champion. She won it back in Kirchzarten in September. She won it the year before in Vale. She came 3rd, going back to the road, she came 3rd in the World Road Race Championships back in 1991. She'll be 30 in September, so she's still at the peak of her powers. And at the moment, her powers are immeasurable. The rest of these riders will have to try very hard to catch her up. Susan Dematteis, generally, she's the bridesmaid in these World Cup events. Usually 2nd, 3rd, 4th or 5th. Very rarely gets a win. She won in Cairns in 1994. But join me after the break when we will bring you the finish of the women's race. On just 2.5 hours drive from Boston and just over 4 hours from New York City. Not that that will be worrying that woman, Alison Sidor, riding so well today. Just time trialing her way round. She doesn't look in any sort of problem. She really is at the peak of her powers. So far this season she's won 5 World Cup races, and it looks like it's going to be a 6th, which will equal her tally, her total tally. Or should I start again? That will equal the tally of her previous World Cup wins in total. So for going from 6 to 12 wins in one season is amazing. She's taken on the mantle of Julie Furtado. But Sarah Ballantyne's got a lot of work to do to try and catch her, as has this woman, Susan Dematteis, the Diamondback rider, who's been slightly quiet this year. She had a good start to the season when she won the Sea Otter Classic. Most of the top riders were there, but they were probably just playing, I'm sure. Tammy Jacks was there as well, the Schwinn Pro. Used to be on the same team as Ruthie Mathis, but the two of them fell out and she joined the Schwinn team and has been riding a lot better since. She came 6th in the World Cup last year, which was a fabulous result for her. But Sidor looking so composed. She's coming down into the finish area now. I'm sure she's going to take the win. She's just time trial her way round. The crowd are waiting. She is going to take her win. The 6th win of this season, bringing her tally up to 12. What a fabulous result for her. Admittedly, the best riders weren't here. Julie Furtado, Caroline Alexander, Eva Orvasova Lowe. the other riders in the top 4 in the World Cup. But still a good result for Seidel. She was second here last year to Furtado. It looks like Ruthie Matthews is going to come in for second place. Going back to last year, Seidel was second. Furtado had won this race 4 times previously on the trot, but it was Seidel today. And I think that's Ruthie Matthews going in for second. Sarah Ballantyne coming in just behind her. The Univega Pro, this will be a fabulous result for her. She will be very happy about this. And I think this is Ruthie Matthews. Yes, it is. She's sprinting up to the line. Good result for the Volvic Powerbar Pro. Her best result for a long time, in fact. Her best result this season. She only had a third last year as well. She hasn't had a second place since 1994. Sarah Ballantyne comes through for third spot. Brilliant riding for Univega.
Great finish today.
Alison, congratulations, 6th World Cup win.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You know, it's definitely my best season ever so far, and you know, really the significance of today was getting the 6th World Cup win. You know, it helped me out for the overall, and you know, I'm really satisfied to have done that today.
So there's still just the final for you to go to get the overall title, isn't it?
Well, you know, whether I go to the next 2 or not, it doesn't really matter. You know, I have no pressure. I may go, but I'm not sure. But yeah, obviously the next objective is to have a good race. Well, first of all at the Olympics, and then at the end of the season at the finals. So, but I'm very happy with the way things have gone so far.
Now you have confirmation of the results. Seidel first, over 2 minutes in front of Ruthie Matthews in second place, with Sarah Ballantyne in third, 3:24 behind. Susan Dematteis fourth, Tammy Jacks fifth, Britain's Deb Morrell 31st.
David, hello, how do you feel today?
Okay, not too bad. I've got a little bit of a cold coming on, but I think I'm holding it off for the race, and it'll probably come out tomorrow.
You like the course here?
Yeah, I like the descending. It's quite hard technical descending, so it's like it'll suit me. Like I did well here last year, so there's no reason for me not to do well again this year.
Brune, will this rain cause any problems to you today?
You know, it will be a really technical race today, because in the downhill it's a lot of stones and roots, so you have to be a little bit careful in downhill today. But you know, for me it's good, because I like when it's more technical, so I'll see.
The men lining up today, 135 riders. The men are doing 4 laps as opposed to the women's 3. That means there'll be 42 kilometers with over 465 meters of climbing per lap, and they steam out from the start. So anaerobic, so difficult for these guys. But if they don't go as hard as they can at their start, they'll be right at the back and they'll have so much more to do. They've just got to get a good start. Already it's Tinka Juarez, number 54, right in the middle of your picture, the Volvo Cannondale rider, who's leading the men up the climb. He's had a terrible season so far in the World Cup. Hasn't really had any significant results. He was doing well at Helen. He was in the leading group in round 4, but he punctured. This is one of the technical descents. Rider's got to be very careful. It's been raining intermittently since the women's race. Got to watch themselves. Luckily it's not too hot, only 20 degrees. And that was Alessandro Fontana going through. It's Gary Ford there with John Tomac on his back wheel. It's going to be a long, hard race. And as Closer said at the beginning of the program, technical descent. And it's Alessandro Fontana. Sorry, that's his teammate, Hubert Paluba, who's leading out Rune Heudel. Paluba having his best season for a long time. 14th place of the World Cup so far, as we're looking at a Costa Rican rider, Andres Brenes, being chased by a group of riders. That Don Myra, the Trek Volkswagen rider, Tinka Juarez. And that is Fontana, number 6, the Diamondback rider. And that's Heudel's teammate, Lenny Christensen. But join me after the break for the continuation of the men's race. Cross-country Grundig World Cup, as we look at Hubert Paluba and Rune Heudel and Andres Jose Brenes coming a cropper there. So you've got to be so careful on these descents. As I was saying earlier, he's just been caught by that small group of Juarez, Myra, and I think it was Paluba's teammate Fontana. And that's Christensen doing a good ride at the moment, as opposed to last week at Mont Saint Anne. He blasted off from the start, took everyone by surprise, and then blew up. I think he's taking it a little bit steadier today as the rest of the field come through. Number 19 there, Dario Cioni, the Mapai Kona rider, came second way back in round 3 at St. Wendel in Germany. But it's this man, Rune Heudel, who won here last year so convincingly from the British rider David Baker, the GT Pro, with Alessandro Fontana, that man in your picture. He came 3rd last year. That was his best ever result in a World Cup. He only started riding World Cups in 1995 anyway. So 3rd last year was fabulous. As we look at Don Myra and Tinka Juarez, Don Myra in the front there. Been quite unlucky this season. He broke his collarbone at the very first race in Lisbon. Didn't race the next 3 races. And then he's come back slightly since then. He had a 24th at Helen and a 13th at Vermont, as it's starting to get really bad, the conditions. I don't think the riders will mind too much. Last year it was so hot here, as we look at Lenny Christensen and Fontana, the giant rider and the Diamondback Italy rider. Fontana, he rides for a team owned by Claudio Brusi. Now that guy, he supports 18 teams in Italy, so he likes his cycle racing. As we look at Heudel, he's obviously dropped Hubert Paluba. He's been very unlucky this season as Heudel. He's crashed, he's had punctures at the first round. He had 2 punctures. He's in the leading group. Punctured, got back to them, punctured again, and still came 4th. And there's Heudel just in front as we look at some support for Tinka Juarez. As I was saying earlier, he hasn't done at all well in the World Cup, but he's leading the US Olympic qualification for the mountain bike race at in Atlanta. As we look at Lenny Christensen, he's having his best year in the World Cup. He's dropped Fontana, the Diamondback Pro. You can just see Christensen in front of him by about 50 meters, and these guys are waiting for Tinka Juarez. Had a great year in '94, came 2nd at the Worlds and was 3rd overall in the World Cup. There's Tinka there, number 54, being led out by the Trek Volkswagen Pro, Don Myra, and that's Albert Eaton, another giant rider, just behind those 2. Doing very well today, Albert Eaton. Been around a long time, has Albert. Very good downhiller as Heudel comes through the start-finish area. The giant rider is looking like he's going very strongly today. And as you can hear the commentator saying, it's Hubert Paluba coming through with Christensen. Paluba just obviously caught Christensen on the climb. Christensen currently lying 4th in the World Cup, but like in the women's race, 4 of the top 5 aren't here today. The leading French riders, Miguel Martinez, Christophe Dupuy, Jean-Christophe Savinoni and Jérôme Ciotti all have gone back to France, as has Mike Kluger, the German rider who's had a brilliant season so far. And that's Fontana, number 6, going through there. And this looks like another Diamondback rider. It does. It's number 33. It's Cadel Evans, the Australian pro, only just turned 18. came second in the Junior World Championships in Vail behind that man Miguel Martinez. Two-time winner on the circuit, and that's John Tomac going through there, just in front of Tinker Juarez. Tomac riding out of his skin. If Tomac keeps this up, it will be a best result of the season for him. Currently lying 22nd in the World Cup. He's had a previous best of 11th. As we look at Heidel descending, no one's going to catch that man on a descent. He has won a downhill World Cup himself, so he's fabulous on this sort of stuff. Stopped riding the downhill when he had a massive crash in 1993. Broke a couple of vertebrae in his back, decided then he would just concentrate on cross-country. And of course, look what happened last year. First man ever to win 5 World Cup races in a season. As we look at Paluba, nowhere near as cool on the descent, and Don Myra coming through with Tinker Juarez and Cadel Evans just on their wheels. Evans caught Juarez. And this is Rishi Gurul, the Klein rider. We haven't seen him so far this season in the World Cup. He's doing very well. And who's this? This is Gary Ford, the British rider, riding for Scott. Excellent ride in there from Gary. Followed closely by Dario Cioni, the Mapai Kona rider. As we wait, along with the crowd at the finish line. Hasn't been perfect conditions here today. Can Rune Heidel repeat his win of last season? He can. He does up his jersey. This will be a fabulous win for him. No matter what he says, he still wins a World Cup race. He'll be disappointed the other top pros aren't here, but it's still a win. A win is a win. It'll do his World Cup standings no harm or good. Or should I say no good? Oh, a lot of good. Being congratulated there. Fabulous result for the giant rider. Finally, his luck has held out, hasn't crashed, hasn't punctured. And who's this coming in behind him? It's his teammate, Lenny Christensen. His best result since 1993 at Houffalize. Has a previous best of 3rd place this season, again at Houffalize, as the teammates congratulate each other. They are so happy.
They are one couple of happy campers right now.
Excellent stuff. You can see the result just in the background there. Christensen coming in 2:27.14. 1:33 in front of Heidel. Who's it going to be for 3rd place? It's the Diamondback Pro, Hubert Paluba. This is going to be his best result ever in a World Cup. Came 20th last year here. Fabulous stuff for Paluba. He'll be very happy about that.
Moved further and further into the leaders group, and now he's going to be on.
And who's this coming in for 4th place? It's another Diamondback Pro. It's Alessandro Fontana. So it's Giant 1st and 2nd, Diamondback 3rd and 4th.
Bruno, congratulations, first World Cup win this year. This must have been important for you.
Yeah, of course, I knew I had a good chance here today because I was missing the French riders and Thomas Frischneck, so Len and me knew that this was a chance.
Must give you a bit more motivation for the upcoming Olympics now.
Yeah, of course, because this season, you know, I've been just missing a little bit of form last year, so with one World Cup victory is good for your head, and I go back to Norway now and train 1 month really good for the Olympics, so I'm looking forward to that.
And for the upcoming World Cup races, does this push you a bit more to the front?
Yeah, of course, because we also have a World Cup race in Norway this year, so you know I have to show the Norwegian people so that I can win in my own country. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the World Cup races too.
And there you have confirmation of the result. Heidel 1st, Christensen 2nd, 1:33 behind. Paluba 3rd, Fontana 4th, Cadel Evans 5th. David Baker was 9th and Gary Ford was 11th.
Kamisan Mimradl da.